Thank you, Honorable Meli, Chair Education, for your detailed presentation. It seems umekoma kwa hiyo committee. I have 3 questions. One, and it's just to reiterate what the chair has raised on the interns, JSS, and I think generally the interns taken by TSC, or is it only JSS who are interns? Even some, yeah? And one of the other issues that has been raised, I think it's a policy issue with TSC, even as we look for funds for them to be permanently employed, is that when they do recruitment, they do not give priority to the interns. Actually, when you're an intern, you do not qualify to apply when they're doing the PNP, because they say you already have another contract. So you find an intern who had finished school, you know, in 2000, God knows, 2001, will not apply for PNP because he or she is already an intern. Then someone who finished school in 2023 or 2024, because they are not already in another form of a contract, will apply and then get employed to be PNP. And I think that is very unfair, Chair, because the whole essence of someone being an intern is because they also gain experience. And so during recruitment, the interns should be given priority. Then the space left by the interns, the fresh graduates can then get to become interns. And I think if there'll be employment, that policy issue needs to be dealt with by TSC before recruitment is done, Chair. The second thing is that I am happy as a committee you are bold enough to deal with the issue of disparity in terms of university allocation. You know, people have various interests in ministries, in these offices, and you can find a university has no pending bills, has nothing, while there's another university that is struggling to a point where they are almost closing, they are almost shutting down. And so I hope that as budget committee, we will consider, I hope you have thoroughly, you also don't have interests, because you know everybody has an interest, committee, the institutions. If you have thoroughly looked at it, then I think this committee should support the Committee of Education in looking at the adjustments that they have made to the universities. Chair, I want the chair to explain to us what was the thinking first of removing school feeding in our schools, even before they return money or take it I don't know where, or you know, before, because there are some things we should not even be fathomed, they shouldn't even be thought about, because school feeding does a great deal in ensuring that our schools are there. And I will still raise that issue of saying sometimes the infightings in our institutions makes us make arbitrary and crazy, crazy decisions like this one. You know, probably you don't want it to be placed here, you want it placed I don't know where because I don't know of what interest. Please sort out those issues before we do BPS. And this committee, Chair, we should stick with what is in the BPS, because it was interrogated by their committee, it was interrogated by this committee, it was passed by the National Assembly. We will not be party to any games of institutions playing there up to a point where we are sending panic to our schools and the whole country asking what is happening to school feeding program. Those nitty-gritty of their fights, they deal with them before they get to BPS, because this committee should stick to what was passed by the National Assembly. Lastly, what's the difference between TTI, TVET? You know, I see TTI, I see TVET. I thought TTI is what it was before, but we then moved to TVET. But even in your presentation, I'm getting a bit confused with TTI and then TVET. And I rarely ask specific questions, but I'll ask a question on a TTI in my constituency. It has taken 7 years of a monument built but not equipped, not operational, and I'm sure there are other areas in this country which are like that. And that raises the whole question about equity. When funds are sent to these institutions, do they look at the entire country? You find another county has 8 TTIs, all fully operational. And then you find another county has only 1 TTI, it will never be given a priority. While we also want our children to go to those TTIs. I will not lose my political seat because of some people who sit here in air-conditioned offices who do not respond to issues that affect my constituents. They get out and go and equally support the institutions that have been started and are not completed. So thank you very much. And the issue of low-cost boarding, I want to know how much money has been put there.
One, on issue of policy, I would request that the National Treasury sticks to the issue of budget policy statement, so that when you come to the estimates, it follows basically from the root up. Two, Chair, the issue of supplementary in all economies is a measure of, allow me, when the government is not, when we are not organized. That's why you come supplementary 1, 2, and 3. In actual fact, I will agree with you that if we have a very prudent budget process, there is no need for supplementaries. However, because we are in Kenya and we do this regularly, Chair, I will tell you that JSS teachers, and I want to plead with this committee, that to employ 46,000 teachers, you only need, I'm saying only because we are having a budget of 3-point-something trillion, 28.6 billion. Currently, you are provided for about 20,000. But if you can give 20,
how much have you provided so far?
So far, you have provided 8.3 billion, and for PNP, and 4.7 for interns. So if we can say we don't want to take in interns this year, for example, then you only need 13 billion. So you'll add only 14.6 billion, and every 46,000 teachers will be taken in. Universities, assuming also that we don't need supplementaries, you will require 43 billion for continuing and ongoing students, knowing that we have two funding formulas, differentiated unit costs and the new funding formula, which we have banding students in 5 banding areas. On capitation, JSS and the 844 will require 29 billion as funding.
How much is now given to university?
Currently, we've given university funding, capitation.
The one that needs 43, how much is there now?
21. So we need, we have a shortfall of 22. For capitation in JSS, shortage, both JSS and the old system, we require 29 billion shillings. So far, you've given 90 billion. 90. You need 29. No, you've given 90 for it to cover the whole shortfall. You require 29. Shortfall, yes. And Chair and members, the issue of capitation need to be really relooked at, because going forward, it will be completely unmanageable going into the future. That one, I give it to you. School feeding for all school days and to cover everything. Last year, we had 4.9 billion for the whole year. So we have gotten 2 billion. Maybe now you need to cover the rest. Now let me go straight into the issues. Yes, so you need 3 billion more. We need 3 billion more for that. Then, Chair, I want to respond to some issues raised by. Why I'm saying that, I'm responding to a question proposed by the Chair, assuming that we have no supplementary, and assuming that this is a one-off budget. Those are the issues that we have.
Please proceed, Chair.
Yes.
Yes.
On the issue of flooding, on the issue of I think I have responded to that. Chair, let me go to second issue raised by Honorable Wario. List of schools targeted. The schools affected by floods are 1026. We can provide that list if need be. I think I'll ask the minister to give us. Yes? No, 1,026. 1,026. And they shall be provided based on maybe toilet sinks, classrooms affected, and all that. The locations and everything else. School feeding, we said that the balance you require is 2.9 billion, 3 billion shillings. On Honorable Makali Mulu, actually the issue of floods is dire across the country. I need that one, we don't need to belabor on it. The supplementary estimates, why they are requesting 500 is because they have 1 month. I think that is the reason why. They have 1 month to close the year. Otherwise, in the coming year, we ask them, what will you use? They say they'll use the infrastructure funds, the 1.3 billion shillings. And they say that there was I think a discussion in government about the use of CDF, emergency and all that. So I didn't want to go into a lot of details on that. On promotion of teachers, I agree there is need for audit. And we have asked the Teacher Service Commission to follow 3 core issues. 1, the age of the teacher. The old teachers who have served for long be given priority in promotion. 2, merit, and 3, performance. In the last promotion, one of the big problems that faced the promotion issue is also the issue at, especially the interior parts of schools, where some teachers at times, even if they announce to them about the issue of application, and just because the application issue is very digital, it's online, that's why we're asking the Teacher Service Commission to really do very updated 5G, digital system, so that somebody in the interior part of Lodwar can access it and be able to have their, yes, 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 can be able to really get
Members,
on the issue of intern teachers to be employed, I think I have answered that. That was asked by the substantive chair. School feeding, the balance is 3 billion. We require that. On the issue of floods, it is very dire, honorable members, and the supplementary budget, we requested 500 million because it is covering a duration of 1 month and for those schools. On promotion of teachers, I have indicated that the committee has asked the Teacher Service Commission to be very strict to ensure that those teachers who have served for a very long time, the old, those who are aged, those who perform well, and those who have stayed in one job group for a long time, be given priority in the new promotion. And in fact, the committee is undertaking an audit of the earlier promotion so that before even they undertake this one, they will have actually answered that. On the appropriation bill, first of all, I want to say this. It was in the floor of the House that we moved 3.4 billion shillings from infrastructure funds to CDF, and we distributed it proportionately on population. And it was passed to the finance, the Department of Finance, the Ministry of Treasury. And then that money came to CDF. This time, we are also sending 2.7 billion. This is for purposes of equity, so that these monies are distributed across the country on equitable basis. On capitation costs, primary, secondary, and university, there have been, I will say, a lot of funding gaps. Primary, 20 billion shillings. Universities, 21 billion shillings. TVETs, the same. So all this is pointing to an issue of unsustainability of capitation as a policy. I would be asking this committee and the entire government to look at it. Now we are going to a new funding model known as the new funding model at the universities. The student is given a fee structure of 500 million, or 500,000. The parents become so worried and say, we are not going to have this amount of money. So, student X, please pave way for others who are in primary to continue to secondary, as you can get a job for you. That is pointing to what Honorable Millie said. There is about 10% students who don't report to university. This year we have asked the universities, the Higher Education Loans Board and the Funding Board, not to give a bill of 500,000. Let them give a bill showing the household contribution That means they show the student that the government is paying this much in loans, this much in scholarship, then the home is supposed to pay 50,000. That one will now tell the students it is very easy, you can go to the university, instead of giving the 500, 200, 300 fee structure. And next week we are going to meet them, and we are going to make it mandatory that no university student will be given a wholesome fee structure, because that one has really reduced the number of students going to universities. The other issue, which was raised by Honorable Mase, is the issue of tuition block at Alupe.
Okay, is a point of order from
Yes,
Honorable Miri.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to raise a supplementary on that.
Yes.
In terms of, and I think I just want to thank you for what the committee is committed to doing. And you know, when you say 10%, it looks a very small number, but it's over 400,000 students. Yeah, it was in the papers. They said over 400,000 that have dropped out. I'm just wondering, can there something be done to ensure these 400,000 that have dropped can go back to university? Because it's not really fair. Because many of them are dropping because of the same reason you are saying.
Chair, I would beg to disagree with Honorable Member, because the total student population at the university is almost 500,000. And when you talk of 10%, it is 10% of almost 160,000. So it's about 16,000. And the first cohort of DUC, that is what we are saying. That's around 16,000. But in effect, what we are actually agreeing is what you are saying, that as a result of the new funding model and giving parents a huge fee structure, a number of them don't even understand that they need to apply loans, they need to apply for scholarship, and therefore the family or the household payment is very small. So this time we are telling the universities and the university administration to do is to give them a fee structure that shows the family component, which is very small. In some 7%, in some 5%, in some full scholarship, and in some 30 to 40%. So that one is going to address that issue.
Chair, I'm not the one who raised the figure. It was in the paper's headlines. So whether it's 16,000 or 400,000, the issue is there.
Yes.
16,000 is already
It's quite a number.
A number.
Yes.
400,000 is what I was saying we should actually call Parliament back.
Yes.
So my concern is, can you please just follow it up as the chair of education and find out what we do with these ones who have dropped out, please.
Thank you. And we shall even invite members when we shall be having that particular session so that you can also interrogate. On the issue of tuition block at Alupe University, roads and all the rest, and the TTC for Amukura Teachers Training College, honorable members, you know that we try to rationalize to make sure that each and every university gets its development or project going on. And we've got lists of certain universities, even Alupe, we've given the money. Rongo, we've given the money. Karatina, we've given the money.